Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. If you have any testimony that you wish to share with us, please do not hesitate to come to my inbox and share with me your own side of the story. The message that I have for you, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as anonymous? I am a 38-year-old South African woman. I have come here to tell you what happened when I had this other maid of mine. She was quite a good lady, but when she found out that my husband was cheating on me, she was the one who saw everything and who told me that my husband had been cheating on me. Then she started to give me advice. The advice that she gave to me was that I was supposed to go with her to her country to speak with one of her auntie, whom she said the auntie was a well-known witch in their village. And this auntie of hers, she had already spoken with her auntie about the issues that I was facing in my marriage, and her auntie had already agreed to assist me. I'm going to tell you what happened when I refused the spiritual warfare that I started to face even from my own best friend. And she also wanted to have me sacrificed because of the things that I knew, since I was the one that had introduced me to that lady who is a witch from Sim. So my story, it started when I was still in university. I had two boyfriends, and I wanted to make a choice whom I wanted to be with. So the other guy that I was dating, he was someone that was okay, but the problem that I was having with him, and the problem that my family was also having with him, was that he was into alcohol a lot. My father used to tolerate him, but the day that my father said, no more, I do not want to see you again around my daughter anymore and ever again. This was after he had beaten me up. He had gone to drink with his friends, and this was the problem that he always had, a problem that I had been trying to hide from my own parents, that he was abusive only when he was drunk. He was always abusive towards me, but he had never laid his hands on me, like to beat me up. All that he had done was just to sometimes push me, to pull me when he was drunk. If it happened that we were talking about some issues that we were not agreeing upon, then he would get violent, push me, threaten to beat me, but he had never laid his hands on me. And the day when he beat me up, I tried to hide it from my parents, but then they found out, and my dad then said that he did not want to see him any more close to me. And that is how I broke up with that boyfriend of mine. Then I started to date the man who later became my husband, the man who nearly made me to go and do money-making rituals because of the love that I had for him and because of everything that I had dedicated in my marriage. There are times when you are supposed to ask yourself, do I love this marriage more than I love myself? That is the mistake that I had done at that time. I had fallen in love with my husband more than the way that I loved myself. So even if he would mistreat me, I would not see it as if he was mistreating me. I would just tell myself that it was normal. This happened. If you are a married woman, you're always going to face all of these challenges. I then had my daughter. After I had my daughter, I then told myself that I was supposed to get a maid. I went back to Eastern Cape. I went to my mom's village. There was this other girl. She had finished her matric. Unfortunately, she had been raped by this other gangster who was already arrested. So I felt sorry for her. In fact, it was my mom who suggested that since I wanted someone that was from my own tribe so that she can become my own maid, someone that can understand me, someone that I wanted to push out of poverty, because I had plans for the girl. I wanted him to do something with her life. Later on, I wanted to send her to college, and that girl, she ended up sleeping with my husband. So since I had recently given birth, I was not ready ready yet to sleep with a man. In fact, from the time when I was around 6 months pregnant, I was unable to sleep with my husband. Sometimes he would have to force me, and that was where the cheating started, even though before he had already been cheating on me. But the cheating started round about when I was 5 months pregnant, because whenever he would sleep with me, I would vomit. I did not want to sleep with any man at that time. So when my maid came around, she then started to seduce my husband, and I did not even know that this was what was going on. My husband was being seduced by the maid, and they started to sleep with each other behind my back. So when I found out that this was what was happening, I then blamed myself, and I said that maybe I had taken a woman that was too beautiful for my husband to resist. So one of my friends then said, how about you find someone that is old so that the person is not attractive to your husband? That is how I ended up with a maid that was from Zim. She was very old, almost older than my mom. And I said, this woman, she will never be attractive to my husband no matter what. So the maid, I gave her a salary that was okay. She did not stay with us the first few days, but later on she started to stay with us. I was someone that was always traveling because of the type of work that I do, and that is why I listen to confessions, because I am always on the road. That is the job that I do. I move from one province to another. So when I am driving down the road, I'm always listening to podcasts as well as confessions so as to keep myself busy. That is how I got to find out about your channel. So when I was not at home, my maid, she started to notice that my husband will bring in women into the house, especially late at night. So then she told me, and she said, madam, this is what is happening. There are countless women that always sleep in your bedroom whenever you are not around. I felt betrayed that my husband, he was doing all of these things to me, betraying me, even sleeping with a woman on the same bed that I slept with him. I thought that maybe the maid was just lying to me, even though I knew it was the truth, but I was trying to just block the truth because I did not want to go through the pain that I had gone through when I had found out that my husband had been sleeping with a maid. So later on, I got proof that indeed this was happening for real. And I confronted my husband. He got mad, but I did not tell him who had told me. So my husband then told me that there was another lady that was already pregnant and he was thinking about having 2 wives. And I said, having 2 wives? But when we met, we never discussed about that, and I don't think that I will be able to do it, because if it had been done in the family, if my mom was part of a polygamous marriage, then maybe I could understand better. But you are trying to force me into things that I do not understand simply because you have been caught cheating. So we started fighting a lot, me and my husband. There was no longer peace at home. We were so toxic to each other. And that woman's pregnancy, it was growing. One day when I was crying, that was when my maid came to me with an idea. She told me that there was this other auntie of hers who was back in the village where she came from in Zim. And she told me that if I could go with her to Mashengo, then I would be able to get rid of that pregnant girlfriend. And as a woman, once you are told that there is someone who is sleeping around with your husband, the only thing that you'll be thinking about is how to get rid of that woman. That is what you'll be thinking about constantly. And when this woman came to me, when she told me that I could have the chance to get rid of that pregnant girlfriend that was dating my husband, I celebrated, and I thought that maybe this was from God. I was someone that went to church. I grew up in a Pentecostal church, and my parents, they always made sure that we prayed at all the times. But I told myself that if this is what I have to do, then I have to do it. You know, when you are about to fall into sin, you start to justify your actions. I even told myself that there was a time when even King Saul went and he consulted with a traditional healer, and they had to bring the spirit of Samuel even though he had passed away. That is how I started to justify myself. And I said, even in the Bible, King Saul, he had to do these consultations with a sangoma. So let me also do that same thing, even if God is angry, but he will forgive me anyway. So I decided to go and take a passport. I then went to Masvingo and I went to Zim for the first time. I went there alone. I went and I dropped my child with my mom. My mom, she knew that this was what was happening in my marriage, and I did not tell her that I wanted to visit a sangoma in Zim. I did this, only my friend was the one who knew everything that I was doing, who later wanted to sacrifice me, who was now fighting with me using the charms that she had been given by that witch from Zim. We arrived in Zim. It was on a Saturday morning. We were tired because we were on this other bus. Those buses, let me not talk about them. They do not even go as fast as you think they should go. You don't know if you are moving with a taxi or you are moving with a bus. They always stop and pick up passengers. It is just a different culture than the one that we have here in South Africa. And when we arrived, I was tired as hell and everything was really different. And then that was when I was taken into the consultation room. When I was in there, I was told that there were some sacrifices that were supposed to be done. We did one sacrifice of a chicken. That very same night, I had a dream and I saw a man that came to me. But this man that came to me, it was like my relative. But this relative of mine is like they passed away a very long time ago, maybe 40 years ago. And they started to speak with me. And that relative of mine then said, "My daughter, what you have done, you have brought evil into the family. Why have you done this? Look at yourself." And when I looked at my hands, I saw that I was holding a bloody knife, and I saw that my clothes that I was wearing, they were covered in blood. Then I saw that there were some human skulls that were close to me, and I said, "Whose heads are these?" And that man started to cry and said that those were the heads of my relatives. The knife that I was holding, I had been chopping up all of my relative, and I was the one that was only remaining in the family, and I had successfully cut off the family name from the face of the earth. I was the remaining family member. There was no other relative that was still alive except for me because of the rituals that I had done. When we had sacrificed the chicken, I had given the demons access to bring the spirit of death into the family. I then looked in the other corner of the room in which I had found myself in, and I saw a pile of dead bodies. There was every relative of mine that I knew about. They were there and I had killed them. I woke up screaming and I had a voice that told me to continue with the rituals. And when I returned back home, I was supposed to throw away those charms in the river the moment that I returned back home. So we continued with the rituals. I was told to write the names of all of my relatives, the ones that I remember, and I wrote everything. And then we returned back to South Africa. I had a small bag of the charms that I was supposed to use so that my husband's girlfriend can die. I then went to the river and I threw away everything. I was with my friend who was even encouraging me, but in secret, she then came and she spoke with my maid without my knowledge. She also wanted to go and do some rituals. Unfortunately, my marriage collapsed because my husband, he then moved out and he divorced me, and he went and he started staying with that girlfriend because that girlfriend gave him a son. I had only gave him 2 daughters. So that is how my marriage collapsed. I kept on praying and I kept on hearing voices that told me to to strengthen myself because there was war that was going to come. And when I had a voice that told me to strengthen myself because there was a war that was going to come, I did not understand, because during the divorce process, my husband, he did not even fight with me. He did not fight for the cars. He did not even fight for the house. All that he was happy about was that we were getting divorced and he was going to be free with his new girlfriend because that woman had given him the child that he wanted all of his life. So I did not understand why this voice kept on telling me that I was supposed to keep on praying, to keep on fasting because there was a war that was going to come. My mom, when she found out that I was going to get a divorce, my mom cried. She even grew thin because she expected a lot from my husband. And my husband, because she had supported the marriage from the time that I had broken up with that other boyfriend of mine when I was still in university. So she was caught off guard by what my husband started doing. So Brother Nashim, that was when the war started to happen after my friend had gone to Zim with my former maid who was now working for my friend. They went there, they did their rituals. When they arrived in Zim, it then turned out that she wanted to use me for money-making rituals. And she had already gone there with this other dress that she had once taken from my house. You know, as friends, sometimes you can go out and then your friend can take a dress from your wardrobe and she never returns that and you never think much about it because you will be having maybe a hair t-shirt or something that you would have taken from her. So she went with that dress to Zim and they tried to use me for rituals. One day when I was in the office, I saw a man, and even people at work, they thought that I was now starting to lose my mind. I saw a man that came to the reception area. So I got up from my office and I went to the reception area and I said that, this one is mine, he's my client. There is something that I want to discuss with him. We only had an appointment over the phone. Since I'm free, let me take him to the office. When I was talking to the receptionist about the man that was standing in front of us, what I did not know was that there was no man that was standing in front of us. I was talking about someone that did not even exist. Some other clients that were there, they were even surprised that I was talking to the wind. I was talking to myself. Even when I was going to the office, I spoke with a man, yet I was talking to myself. This kept on happening. I then started to lose my mind. I would drive and I would forget where I was headed to. Then I would see a man that would be naked with me in the car. Then I'll start to run because this man, he will start to chase me saying that he wants to sleep with me. So people would see me running away from the car saying that there is a man that is wanting to sleep with me and I do not know that man. So people thought that I was honestly losing my mind. I then went to the pastor and I told the pastor what was happening. The pastor then joined me in prayer and told me to fast. Fasting, when you are having a spiritual battle, it is not easy. You will always be tempted to eat something at all the times. But I kept on praying. It then turned out that my friend, her rituals, they worked only for about a year. She started a business. You know, I was depressed for a time when I heard that my best friend, she had managed to secure this other Debonier's shop, a franchise that she had gotten. Where she had gotten the money from, no one knew, but I knew that it was because of the rituals that she had done in Zim. And when she felt to sacrifice me, my friend, she had a terrible accident. She slipped from the balcony and she broke her back. She did not die. At that time, she was now in a wheelchair. My friend, she came to me and she said sorry. She was someone that had pride, even though she wanted to tell me the things that she knew that I already knew, but she did not want to say it. To say that I went to Zim and I wanted to sacrifice you. She failed to say that. So I lost my marriage, but at least I did not use rituals, but I lost my husband to another woman. This is my own confession. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Let us try to speak about this in the comment section. If you have any testimony, you can come to my inbox and you can share with me your own side of the story.